There is a village where the soil is red, red like rust, red like dried blood. And every May the women cook a great feast. And every May the ground softens. No one ever talks about the second part. They only talk about the food. They call it Aquaquagar. They call it a festival of gratitude. They do not call it what it really is. Feeding time? When you first arrive in the village, it feels perfectly ordinary. Goats bleat lazily under the shade of palm trees. Children's laughter echoes through the air, bouncing off the walls of the mud brick houses. But if you have the misfortune of arriving in May, you will notice something strange, something unsettling beneath the surface. The men, usually boisterous and full of life, grow quieter. Their loud boasts fade into hushed whispers. The lively arguments over palm wine and politics cease entirely. They stop sleeping deeply, their nights filled with a restless, waking dread, because every man, from the youngest to the oldest, knows the unwritten rules of Aquaquagar. On that fateful night, you do not provide. You do not refuse the invitation to the feast. And you do not, under any circumstances, leave the market square before the stroke of midnight. There are stories, of course, whispers of those who thought they were cleverer than tradition. An old man, stubborn and defiant, once tried. He scoffed at the warnings and left the celebration early, convinced it was all just foolish superstition. They found him the next morning, kneeling peacefully in his onion field. Half of his body was buried deep in the rich, red earth, not dug, not forced, swallowed. The ground around him was smooth, undisturbed, as if it had simply opened its mouth and taken a bite. 3 days before the festival, a palpable change comes over the women. Their smiles vanish, replaced by a focused, solemn intensity. They begin to gather ingredients from the deep bush, herbs that no one else can name. Roots that, when snapped, bleed a thick, white sap. Leaves that curl defensively when touched, as if recoiling from the human world. They grind a mysterious powder from something that smells strongly of iron, of old metal, and fresh blood. Their cooking is a ritual, a precise and sacred dance. They stir the great pots only clockwise. 3 deliberate turns, a pause. 3 more turns. The rhythm is hypnotic, unchanging. If a curious child wanders into the open-air kitchen, they are sent away with a sharp, silent gesture. If a man lingers too long by the doorway, drawn by the strange, intoxicating aromas, the cooking fire will inexplicably go out. Not flicker and die. Just out. One moment a roaring blaze, the next cold ash. The wrappers they choose to wear on the night of the feast are beautiful, a vibrant display of red, gold, and deep, royal purple. But if you look closely, you will see the patterns are not random floral designs. They spiral inward over and over again, like a vortex, like something being pulled down into an unseen depth. By sunset on the day of the feast, the market square is full. Lanterns hang from tall wooden poles, casting a warm, flickering glow on the expectant faces. The women move with a silent, graceful efficiency, serving the food. They ladle the thick, dark soup into bowls. They place mounds of steaming fufu on platters. But they do not taste it. They never, ever taste it. The men eat. They eat with a nervous hunger, a desperate bravado. The soup is thick, almost syrupy. It has a metallic tang and unfamiliar richness that is both delicious and deeply unsettling. It fills the stomach too quickly, too completely, leaving a heavy, leaden feeling. Some men laugh loudly, their voices unnaturally high. Some begin to sweat, despite the coolness of the evening air. And some feel their own heartbeat begin to slow, to fall into perfect, unnerving sync with the slow, hollow beat of the drums. Across the square, the women begin to hum. It starts as a low, almost inaudible vibration, a sound that you feel in your bones before you hear it with your ears. The humming does not rise into the air like a song. It seems to sink, to pour downwards, seeping into the very soil beneath their feet. Then, at midnight, the drums stop dead abruptly. The silence that follows is absolute, a heavy blanket that smothers all sound. Even the chirping of the night insects freezes. The moon, as if on cue, disappears behind a thick cloud. And in a single, coordinated instant, the lanterns extinguish all at once. Darkness, total and oppressive, presses against the skin. Then the ground moves. It is not an earthquake, not a tremor. It is a breath, a slow, deep inhalation from the earth itself. And something unseen inhales with it. The men feel it first in the soles of their feet. A strange warmth, then a gentle pull. It's subtle at first, like the suction of standing in wet clay. One man, trying to shrug it off, attempts to stand. His foot doesn't lift from the ground. He laughs nervously, a choked, terrified sound. Then the sore around his toes ripples, like flesh moving underwater. He screams. The women do not move. Their eyes are wide, unblinking, fixed on the scene before them. Their humming transforms into a low, powerful chant. The spiral patterns on their wrappers seem to twist and tighten in the oppressive dark. The earth opens. Not wide, gaping maws. Just enough. Hands do not reach up. There are no claws, no monstrous appendages. There is only suction. Only gravity that has suddenly and possibly chosen a new direction, down. One by one, the men are dragged knee-deep into soil that, just moments ago, was hard-packed earth. They panic, they claw at the wooden benches, at each other. The wood splinters under their frantic grasp. Their fingers leave deep, desperate grooves in the ground that is consuming them. In perfect, terrifying unison, the women step forward. They lean over the struggling men and whisper a single word into the darkness, balance, and then the earth exhales. And it takes one, only one. It always takes just one. The rest are released. They collapse onto the square, gasping, crying, covered in red dust. The chanting stops. The ground smooths itself over. There is no hole, no disturbance, no sign of what just happened. Just one empty space at the table. The next morning, the sun rises gently. The birds return to their cheerful song. Children run and play through the market square. The benches are upright again. There are no scratches, no broken wood. At the house of the missing man, his wife is already sweeping. She does not cry. She wears a dress of pure white. It is not a color of mourning. It is the color of completion. The village gathers, and they say the same words they have said for generations. The earth has eaten. We will eat again. No one leaves the village in May, and any visitors who witness the feast are invited to stay. They always stay, because the road leading out of the village disappears. Not physically. The path is still there. It just never leads anywhere. They say the women of the village saved their people from a great famine long, long ago. They say they made a pact with the earth itself, and this is the price of that pact. They say it is all symbolic, a story, a metaphor. It is not symbolic. If you ever find yourself in a village where the soil is red as rust, and it is the month of May, if you are invited to sit at a feast where the women do not eat, do yourself a favor. Count the chairs, and when the drums stop, do not look down, because if the ground looks back at you, it has already chosen.